Good evening. Welcome back to the Celtic Way. Live. Ryan's live from Zagreb. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10, and as you can see, Ryan is somewhere in the Maximir Stadium, and the Bills are that, live from Zagreb. It's the Celtic Way. We are reacting to Brendan Rodgers and Auston Trusty's respective press conferences that they had today to preview the Dinamo Zagreb versus Celtic Champions League match day 6 tomorrow, Ryan. Match day 6, isn't it? Lots of people joining us now, Ryan. Yeah, never trust your old dial with the buttons, but there you go. Well, we got there in the end, didn't we? So, yes, you have to put the lights on, Ryan, says Anthony Aitken, but it is dark in Zagreb. So, how are you? How was that, Ryan? That was your first experience of a Champions League press conference preview with Brendan and Auston. Did you enjoy it, son? How's your day been?
Certainly did enjoy it, Tony. Thank you very much for having me on this evening, even at this late hour. I say it's late hour, but it's only 5 to 9 where you're
5
at.
to 9 back home, yeah.
5 to 10 where I am at the moment in Zagreb outside the Maximir Stadium. It was really good. Brendan Rodgers and Auston Trusty both spoke really well, as did the Dinamo Zagreb manager and the player Marko Piaka, who actually scored a hat-trick the last time these two teams faced off against each other in Europe. So I can't believe, for one, that Marko Piata is 29 years old. That is crazy to me, Tony. That was a guy that I knew from FIFA 14, FIFA 15. People are growing up in front of me, Tony, and I can't quite deal with it, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's been good. Trusty was really good with the media, as you expect.
I know that feeling, Ryan, watching you. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah, that's the way it is. I guess it's the way time flies. Time flies when you're having fun, I suppose. But yeah, I think there's a bit of optimism in the air with Celtic at the moment. I certainly feel the optimism when I was going on the flight yesterday. There was a lot of jubilant Celtic fans looking forward to their trip, hopefully with the 3 points to go along with that. I think they're optimistic for the game as a whole anyway. I think they see the challenge that's in front of them, the fact that they're facing a team that are not in the best bit of form at the moment, and they can quite easily go into this game. You know, maybe I'm not going to say slight favourites. I think it's a 50-50 game because Zagreb are at home, but at the same time they've got a chance here in this game tonight or tomorrow, and let's see what they can do. If the real Celtic come out to play, then I believe that Celtic can win this tomorrow.
something's happened, Ryan, to your microphone. You were muted there. Getting a bit of Norman Collier speak as we speak, funnily enough, but I'll come back. Yeah, lots of confidence abounding. Brendan Rodgers talking about, he was asked about winning away being the next step in Celtic's progression in Europe, Ryan, for this team and this squad. He has already sampled winning away, and like 2017, Celtic won 3-0. So he knows how to do that. But I think he was saying for the development and progression of this team, this is the game that they're targeting to win away, Ryan, and hopefully put one foot in the playoff phase.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brendan Rodgers has got no doubt that Celtic can step up to this task that's facing them tomorrow night. I'm just doing a wee bit of a walk. I've changed my headphones as well to my earpods, so you might be able to hear me a little bit more clearly now as well. Fingers crossed that's the case. But yeah, I think they know the challenge that's in front of them, that's ahead of them, but they know that they've got the players to do that and to overcome said challenge as well. Auston Trusty has looked like has taken European football like a duck to water, to be honest, at Celtic. He's been involved in some real crackers, a couple of low points as well. You know, obviously that Dortmund game being the lowest point, but he just looks as if he belongs at this level, and you get what you pay for with a player that's £6 million worth. He's now shown why Celtic spent that money. I actually think he was a bit of a bargain at £6 million after watching some of his recent performances. But Rodgers is just supremely confident. Or he cuts that sort of character in press conferences. He's aware of the challenge that's coming up against them. He's also aware of how good his team can be and how good they can be on their day. If Celtic have their day, then I think there's only going to be one winner in the game. But it's up to them to not blink basically on the European stage, the away stage, once again, which has happened all too often recently and in recent years.
Yeah, and also we were talking about this morning, and Big Dom echoes my sentiments, and I knew the manager would. He was glad to hear that Brendan wasn't falling for the Zagreb.
Best answer, Tony.
Much weaker story, you know. So he made a point of saying he just doesn't buy into that at all. He doesn't get weary. He just doesn't believe it. He said, Ryan, and never has and never will. And I'm always that's the way. You just there's all that kind of kidology stuff going on. I just never ever bother with that, Ryan. You know, and they can tell you he's in, he's out. Just don't pay attention. They will play who they play tomorrow, and I don't pay any attention to it. And I think Brendan Rodgers is a bit like that himself. Just said, nah, not for me. Too wily. He's a wily old fox in that situation, Ryan.
I actually mentioned that in one of my spreads that I did ahead of tomorrow's game. And I said that he's too smart and too experienced at this level to fall for that trap, almost of saying that, right, because Dinamo Zagreb are in a really bad position at the moment. Granted, they're only 6 points off the top of the Croatian league, but the fact that they're not at the top already is already seen as a crisis by some supporters. That's how dominant Zagreb have been in their domestic front for so many years. I think it's 2004, 2005, which was the last time that they didn't win the league, which is an incredible feat for a team like Dinamo Zagreb, and it shows the stranglehold that they've got over Croatian football. It's been tested to the limit this season against because there's two teams that are ahead of them at the moment, and their greatest rivals, Hajduk Split and Rijeka, who are joint top at the moment. They're top due to goal difference. So they're in a real perilous position in terms of retaining their crown in Croatian football. But Rodgers was quite right to admit that their European record's pretty good, apart from that drubbing that they got against Bayern Munich. Now Celtic got a drubbing against German opposition. There's only 1 point between these two sides. Some really credible results that Zagreb have managed to pick up in their opening 5 or so games. Beating Salzburg, that's a good result. Beating Bratislava as well. Getting a draw against Monaco, they probably should have won that game. I remember watching that game back and thinking they should have won that. So they're a team that, despite their domestic troubles, they're showing that they've got real pedigree in Europe, they've got experience. They won't just come to the Maximir Stadium tomorrow and lie down. They'll be desperate to get their 3 points and essentially secure their place in the playoff round.
Well, with the calibre of opposition they've got in their final 2 games, Ryan, they will see this as an opportunity to put one foot in the playoff round themselves, and they'll see Celtic as the easier of the 3 games, which is fine. I can fully understand that. But this is a huge opportunity for Celtic as well. And the manager was also asked, Ryan, wasn't he? And there's like this coming up, Celtic's Ryan. He'd rather they won both matches, obviously, but he wants the cup final over tomorrow night. All day, he says any day. But the manager was asked that, what was he prioritising? And he said that every game is a big game for Celtic, that there is no prioritising. It's just because this one's first tomorrow night that all their focus has been on that, and they haven't looked at the cup final yet, which is what I was talking about this morning. Celtic won't even have had any focus of attention on the cup final. It's still there. It's still going to be there on Sunday. After tomorrow night, you can focus all your attention on that. But I'm greedy, Ryan, in these situations. I want the perfect week. I want the 3 wins from Hibernian, which start on Saturday. I want a win tomorrow night, and I want a win on Sunday. That's just the way I am.
Yeah, we're striving for perfection, but that's what we do. Is we cover Celtic. People support Celtic, and they strive for that perfection in every single game. I think that's one of the fun parts about covering this club, is that the demands are no clearer. They're so clear. Celtic just need to win every single game. A draw is seen as a crisis in some moments. Don't think it would necessarily be a crisis tomorrow, Tony, but just with the way that the game goes, I want to see how the game goes and progresses before we start calling out for draws. I think it could be a firefight between the two sides, and in that instance, I would back Celtic to score more goals than Dinamo Zagreb. I've got the confidence in the club, got the confidence in the strikers and the forward players and the midfielders to chip in with goals when required, confidence in the defenders to sometimes get in the end of crosses as well. And just have confidence in this team, Tony, to be honest with you. I mean, this is the reason why we're here in Zagreb, because we've got confidence that Celtic can do the business away from home. We realise it's been 7 years since they've done so in the Champions League against Anderlecht, but who's to say that won't break tomorrow, that won't change tomorrow? It very well could, and I hope it does, because this team are well on their way to being a really special team under Brendan Rodgers at the moment. And I think they can really underline that status tomorrow.
Those stats are there to be broken, Ryan. That's 7 year. 7 year itch. Going to scratch that if you want to put it that way. But yeah, I just have every confidence in this team, and also I just have every confidence in this manager. You see, he exuded confidence and optimism today, and why not, or tonight? Because this is a stage that Celtic want to be on. This is where Brendan Rodgers craves success, and this team in particular have gone about their business since the Dortmund drubbing in a wonderful way, and they have surprised us. And I highlighted before the Leipzig game that Celtic were a good football team, and they went out and showed it with a raised bar performance that everybody was saying was the best they've seen at that level since the likes of Martin O'Neill's team, and that was 20 years ago. But at this moment in time, I sit here facing you on the screen and saying, Celtic are a good football team. I really don't care about the dangers that Dinamo Zagreb possess. I will find that out in the fullness of time. I always focus on what Celtic can do, and I look at, if it's the same predicted 11 that yourself and myself put out today, it's on the website. You can have a look at that, guys. It's already there. Brendan Rodgers' Q&A is there. The Auston Trusty's Q&A is there as well. You can have a look at them. They're all on the website. But if he plays the same team that you and I predicted, we've got players that can really hurt them, Ryan. And I'm looking for the likes of Kuhn and Maeda, and obviously Kyogo, who were playing up front, to come to the fore in that sense. And they are told us to be creative as possible for those guys to do their thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Dinamo Zagreb manager also mentioned the three Japanese players have been of a really high standard and a real. So you've Celtic have got this prestige now in Europe all of a sudden with their Japanese talents, that they know that they can hurt other teams, and other teams know that those players can hurt them. So that's a good prestige to have, and a good sort of warning and a foresight into Celtic's team, and the way that the team plays is a dynamic. It was quite interesting to watch Brendan Rodgers' press conference, because it was Auston Trusty that spoke directly after him. But I did watch Auston Trusty as Brendan Rodgers was speaking. Very much a very keen observer and listener of Brendan Rodgers, and he's clearly listening to what Brendan Rodgers has to say. You could see him at least 6 or 7 times nodding with what the manager was saying. This is a guy that's moved from Sheffield United, one of the worst defences in Premier League history, to Celtic, to a team that are dominant on the ball, a team that are expecting to win even away from home in Europe. What a 12 months this guy has had, and he's working under the best manager to really fulfil his potential and better him both as a person and as a player as well. I was really impressed to see that tonight, and it showed real synergy between Auston Trusty and his manager. I really like to see that, and it shows, and I bet you that isn't the only relationship, because we've seen it after the game against Hibs as well. Alistair Johnson was deep in conversation with Brendan Rodgers. He's surrounding the team with people as well as players that are going to listen to him and bring his message to the forefront of the team. That's just absolutely brilliant to see, and I hope I see more of that both on the pitch tomorrow and off of it in the press conference, hopefully after a win tomorrow night. To
be fair, it's been one of the manager's buzzwords, hasn't it, that he doesn't sign players, he signs people. And Trusty has come in and embraced that and realised this is a big club. He said himself that it was a dream to play at this stage. The boy from Philadelphia, grown up dreaming of being a footballer, and he's now at the highest club stage that he could possibly ascend to, Ryan. And he's enjoying it playing for Celtic, world famous club, but he's enjoying playing under this manager who he will learn so much from and has already learned so much from. And as you say, another one of Brendan Rodgers' lieutenants on the field, disciples who can spread the word of the manager to other players who are maybe struggling or whatever. But there's not many that struggle in that team, Ryan, at this moment in time. There aren't many, and that's why we trust the manager implicitly and all the players to carry out his instructions to the letter of the law, and it's filtering down from Kasper Schmeichel right along the team. There's Trusty showing he's a leader. Cameron Carter-Vickers is a leader. Johnston's a leader. Greg Taylor was a big voice in the dressing room. That's a debate whether he plays tomorrow, but me and you have put myself have put Valle in that team, haven't we? And then you've got the likes of McGregor, a natural-born leader, Hatate, and we've got Engels in the team, haven't we?
Certainly do.
we believe has leadership qualities and will get into his stride. This is a game for him tomorrow night, Ryan. And then you've got the three guys up front, Maeda, Kuhn, and Kyogo, who also have leadership qualities that can come to the fore when needed. So, as I say, that was our team. You guys can have your saying whether you agree with that team or not if you read it on the website. But it's that's the one that fills me with confidence, Ryan.
Yeah, I'll get confidence, to be honest, in whatever team Celtic play, because I know that they'll understand and they'll interpret the message that Brendan Rodgers is looking to give and looking to display out on the pitch as he gives it off the pitch. I trust whatever team he puts out, to be honest with you, whether that's Bailly or Taylor, whether that's Engels, Bernardo, Hatate, McCowan, McGregor, etc., Kuhn, Kyogo, Ida. You know, you're naming all these players. They're all big players that have done it in big games for Celtic. Yeah. So you have trust and you have faith that these players can step up to the fore once again. I don't see why not. I don't see why tomorrow cannot be the game in which Celtic destroy this 7-year itch, or they scratch this 7-year itch, and really talk about, you know, how good a run they've been on. It's time for Celtic to go on a run in Europe and really cement their place, and at the very least a playoff position in the Champions League. I think the top eight's a bit of a big ask. It's a big ask. It's a tall order, but who's to say that they can't do that unless it's mathematically impossible? Then you never know what can happen in these final 3 games. But I want Celtic to be in the best possible position going into match day 8 of 8 against Aston Villa.
Yep. Big Dom saying everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet under Brendan, and Hazel Finn saying good.
I can't see any of the comments. Good. Tony, this is the one problem with going on your phone.
Hazel saying a good running commentary today, Ryan. So she's saying thank you for that. And Celtic boy saying whatever happens, he wants to be proud of the team, and he has a feeling that he will be tomorrow. And Brown Warrior disagreeing with you and me, Ryan, saying he would start Bernardo in front of Engels for his defensive qualities. That's what it's about, Brown Warrior. That's fine. We shall see what team the manager picks tomorrow. And Kevin Dunn saying an early prediction 2-1 to Celtic. And
early, you know what I mean?
And Brown Warrior also saying an extra 2 games is big money again. Let's hope that Celtic can reach that stage. That's exactly well. And to be fair, Auston Trusty, what I liked about him today, Ryan, he said that Celtic are mentally prepared to reach the playoff phase. It's just about achieving it. Now, you can read into that whatever way you want, but I actually loved that. I thought, good on you. That's a wee insight into the mindset of the Celtic players and the manager, where you set targets and they shift, the goalposts shift as you go along the season. And I think Celtic have said to themselves, let's qualify for the playoff stages at least, and if there's a chance to get top 8, grasp that as well. But I really like that from Trusty today. Celtic boy coming back in. Tony boy and Ryan are fantastic. Enjoy the game tomorrow and be safe, Ryan. Thank you very much, Celtic boy. Really do appreciate that. That's very, very kind. Over 252 people watching us, Ryan.
Incredible, guys. Thank you so much. Even at this late stage at night.
9:15 on a Monday evening.
10:15 here, Tony.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yes, indeed. It's been a busy day for both of us. Busy for yourself, Ryan. But I'm glad, as I said the other night, it's just a wonderful experience doing what we do and following the club, especially in Europe, and this being your first trip. I think you're going to witness something special, Ryan. I really do. I just think you're going to bring them beginner's luck.
I hope so, Tony. And I just want to go back to something that you said about Auston Trusty. I really like the cut of his jib, to be honest with you. I like what he brings to the press conferences. I like the way that he plays as a footballer. I like that authoritativeness that he's got at the back alongside Cameron Carter-Vickers. That partnership that is becoming better and better. It's just improving game on game. You can see it. Those are my back two from now until the end of the season, unless something changes. For me, in all the big games, those two must start. Those two are the standard, the standard bearers really for Celtic at the back. But maybe something special could happen in there. I hope that's the case. I think there's no better time for Celtic to break that unwanted record. That you've got to bring, as much as you don't want to hear about crises, you don't want to hear about a Zagreb crisis. You've got to take that into consideration, that they will have a lot of players unavailable tomorrow. Celtic have got to use that to their advantage. Don't want to use that as an excuse, but use it as an advantage. Go out there and really maintain dominance. Show why you deserve to be in that playoff round when it comes around in February time. To do that, they've got to get the 3 points. Get to that 10, 11 point mark as soon as possible. And then you can go into that young boys game with a bit more freedom, and you can go into the Aston Villa game with a bit more freedom, because I don't know about you, Tony, the last thing that Celtic want is to be going to Villa Park against Unai Emery's Aston Villa side needing a win. That is a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
I think that they will do the hard yards in the next 2 games, Ryan. I've got a feeling that Celtic can win tonight, and they will take the heat out of that young boys game, and it could be an enjoyable night at Parkhead, the young boys game, but that's in the future. But yeah, I just believe that something special could happen tomorrow night in the Maximir Stadium. Bethany Webb coming in, she said it before when she subscribed, this is by far the best Celtic site, especially with you guys. The interaction is second to none. Brilliant. Thank you, Bethany. Really appreciate it.
Without you guys, I wouldn't be here in Zagreb just now. So thank you to each and every one of you. If you contributed in any way, whether that's subscribing to the website, subscribing to the YouTube, becoming a YouTube member, becoming a YouTube member, subscriber, whatever. If you've even watched a video or looked at one of my articles, then thank you, because you've been a small part in helping me get to get to away grounds and get to a massive part. I mean collectively, but everybody together. It's a brilliant community we've made, Tony, and we can't thank everybody enough for joining us on this. And here's to many more of them, to be honest.
Correct. I love this from Brown Warrior. Walk on that part with a Bertie Auld gala swagger and walk off it with a lit cigar. Do you know what? I'm on that bus, Brown Warrior. I quite like that. You know how much I love Bertie. I just think it's time for Celtic to go in with. I always say it. Puff your chest out. Let's have that. That's why I was delighted with Auston Trusty and what he said today. That in their mind they're mentally preparing for qualifying for the knockout phase. Some people wouldn't say that, but he's got a confidence in himself. It's not an arrogance, but that to me is a wee bit of a gala swagger where he's thinking, I'm having this. This is what I want to do. And if he's having it, and he's one of the manager's trusted lieutenants, you bet your bottom dollar the other 10 that are named in that team sheet, starting 11 tomorrow, are having it. And the ones who are on the bench who have been told you will come on at X amount of time, they're all having it. So I think, as you say, Celtic have to. If Zagreb are in any kind of disarray, you have to play on that. But it ain't going to be handed to you. You've got to go and achieve it. So it's
go and grab it, Tony. Got to go and grab it with both hands, really, here, and assert dominance on where they're at in the Champions League table at the moment. They're in a really good position, but they can only maintain that position by maintaining good results, and that goes for actually 6, 7 and 8. They've got 3 games left to get to where they want to be. Brendan Rodgers said that he'd be judged on the continual improvement of Celtic and Europe. That would certainly signify an improvement in Europe if Celtic are playing after January time into February against a playoff opponent. That's the aim. That's the objective. Let's see if Celtic can do it.
Yeah, they got this. I said it before the RB Leipzig game. It was there for them. It's there for them again, Ryan. You just got to grab that, grasp the nettle, and grab it with both hands. And there's a real opportunity to achieve something special with a win tomorrow night, and then carry that feel-good factor into Sunday as well. So yes, that's about 25 minutes, young man. I'm going to let you go because
you'll get my dinner, Tony.
You get something to eat, and maybe even a Mick Jagger or 2, because you'll have deserved that if that's indeed what you're planning. But have a wonderful evening. Thank you for today and all the coverage. And I mean this sincerely. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope it's a thrill of a lifetime.
Loving every minute of it, Tony. It's been absolutely brilliant so far.
Right, yeah, I'm sure you. And the work's, it's work, but it's also there to be enjoyed, sir. All right. So we shall see you tomorrow morning. Well, one of us will see you tomorrow. John's back, Kevin's back, Hamish is back. Sarcastic Thousands tomorrow. We shall draw lots and see who's on the briefing tomorrow. It doesn't matter who's on the briefing. The chat will be good. Guys, 300 people or so joining us live. Thank you for that. We wish this young man a safe onward journey and a good night. All right, fella, you take care.
Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys, and hopefully you'll be on tomorrow to join us for the pre and post match stuff that we've got going on the website and on YouTube too. A
huge game awaits. The second in the 3-game week for Celtic. We won the first one, 2 to go, Ryan. Let's kick it off with another win against Zagreb, which would have Celtic in Champions League dreamland. Dirty dream, Ryan. Dirty dream.
You've got to. There's no other way for it. You know, football is for the optimists and the dreamers. It's all about Celtic to make those dreams come true tomorrow.
Indeed. Guys, have a good night. We shall see you tomorrow. Ryan, take care. I shall speak to you at some point tomorrow, all right?
Cheers, guys.